Hello and welcome to,
Hey, we like your pod.
and we're going to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, and I'm joined as always by my trusted partner, Matt Piggott, and our very special guest. I never know which way to point, so I just do both. Our very special guest, Katie and Carl. Nice to see you both. How are you doing? Let's find out how your week's going. Katie, you want to start us out? How's your week going?
It's been good. It's my baby's 8th birthday today.
Aw,
So we got
Happy
to
birthday.
celebrate him. I don't know where time has gone. So that was fun. Just got done with cake and ice cream and put the kids to bed, and here we are.
nice. What a perfect day.
Yeah.
Carl, how are you? How is your day going? How's your week going? I've talked to
It's
you
going fine. It's going fine. I'll skip any details, but it's going fine.
Good. Fine is good. Carl gets straight down to the facts. He's a factual kind of guy. Maddie, how you doing? How was your week?
Well, I'll tell you, but first of all, Jordan Love is blocking Carl's name, so nobody knows who Carl is at this point. Jordan Love, you're being rude, man. I'm doing great. It's the finals week here at work at UC, and so everything's kind of like winding down, and the students are gradually going home. Like the end of the Ocean's 11 movie, the one with Brad Pitt. It's like there's kind of one by one kind of disappearing off into the sunset, which means the lines at the Starbucks and the restaurants on campus are shorter, which is nice, and things are kind of winding down, which is it's a good time. And like there's actually open spaces on my schedule, and that kind of happens at the same time that things are ramping up for the holidays. So kind of like this, kind of elision, and yeah, I couldn't be happier. Still riding high from last Sunday night. Holy cow! I can't believe the team's good so quick. Amazing. It's amazing. So yeah, I'm doing great. Dawn, how are you?
Same. I'm still so jazzed walking on air. I mean, we always had the highest expectations for our young team this year, but we knew it might be a bumpy ride, and it has been. But the last couple of games, in fact, the opener where we went to all three of us, not you, Carl, sorry you weren't there, but it was the three of us. The last time we've been together was such a fun, it wasn't the greatest performance of the season, but it was a win, and it was a spectacular win. So I think this season has just been grand. I mean, I'm okay with it. I didn't expect them to, come out and play. We didn't know what we were going to get. And so I'm sorry you don't like my new overlay here.
No, it's beautiful. I love it. I just felt bad for Carl. We didn't know his name was not being displayed. That's lovely. For those who are listening on the podcast on, Saturday morning on your platforms, just know Dawn has some new tricks up her sleeve for the visual version, the video version of the podcast that we do on YouTube on Thursday nights, and it's spectacular. It's really great.
It's spectacular. I know, and silly.
It's lovely.
Sorry. I find my joy in very small little things in my old age. This is what happens when you're elderly.
Matt, was that the quickest she's brought up being old?
There it is. Yep.
I was waiting. Yeah. I was waiting.
Yeah, you did it early this week.
Okay, Carl's sitting there going, "What the? No, this is just a special week, and we're kind of off the rails already, but that's okay. We do have a script, and we have a lot to talk about. It's been a great week for superlatives, and Packers Twitter creativity as well, right?
Yeah.
So, gosh, I don't even know where to begin. So, but one of the things Carl, and I just briefly, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, Carl, but one of the things I often bring up on this show, besides my elderly age, is how football is life and how we get life lessons from football. So as we do our superlatives tonight, I'm going to be listening for those kinds of things. Bring them up if I see any. But it's just been I think this whole season has been a great lesson in how to stay faithful and true to your team
And
and
trust
not
the process.
trust the
Mhm,
process,
mhm.
trust the organization,
Yes.
trust the plan. And a little gloating on my part because I felt like I was the only person of millions who was happy that Jordan Love got drafted 3 years ago. So I'm kind of having a little "I told you so" moment, but I don't really want to say it. I didn't know anything, but I just trusted that he was as good as Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur. They didn't talk much back then, but I was really paying attention before that draft. And I was not surprised when he got,
Yeah.
and I'm sure they didn't want to say, hey, Matt LaFleur really, really liked him too much. He didn't want Mr. Aaron Rodgers to get his little feelings hurt because that was happening so much. But now I'm free to say it. Stop floating. So, hey, Carl, do you have any favorite teams? Are you more of a college football guy or NFL?
Yeah, I mostly follow Iowa Hawkeyes and also Iowa State. I'm a fan of any college from Iowa. Pretty much, that's my home state. But I grew up being an Oilers fan, and then of course I moved to Tennessee, where I'm at now. But I don't really follow teams in the NFL so much anymore, as I just follow Iowa players that are in the NFL. And so I do follow that Packer player, the Lucas Van Ness, defensive end, outside linebacker that you guys drafted number 13 overall in the first round this past spring. And I know he had a sack in that game Sunday. So
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I think he'll continue to develop and do great for the Packers.
Well, I think one of our favorite players on the Packers historically from Iowa was, of course, Brian Bulaga, Iowa.
Yep.
Good
Oh,
He played right tackle, number 75.
Mhm.
yes.
And you also had that the defensive back who was now with the Buffalo Bills, and I forget his name off the top of my head. But
Rasul?
no,
He's
he's
Micah
actually
Hyde.
made All Pro a couple of years, been a perennial Pro Bowler, and
Yeah, Micah Hyde.
Micah Hyde. Yep.
Oh.
He's good on kick
I
returns
didn't
and
know
stuff
he was
like
Iowa.
that. So,
Where in Iowa are you from?
town called Sioux City, Northwest.
Yeah, I'm from Sioux Falls.
No way. Yeah, straight south
Yeah.
you guys, about 70 miles.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
That's
Those
crazy.
are two different states, though, right?
I know, right? But they're very close to each other.
Okay. Well, I'm confused because I thought Tucker Kraft was from South Dakota.
Yep.
Okay, but
Yeah.
then I get him mixed up with
Lucas Van Ness.
Lucas. Yes.
Yeah.
Two totally different people.
Totally different people.
Two
Totally
different.
different. One's offense, one's defense. It's fine. They're both white Midwestern guys. So
It's just how I roll. And Carl
Funny.
said that means you're not that much of a football fan if you don't know that. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of facts. And hello to Wesley John. Wesley John, we are talking football tonight. So do you like football? We got to hear everybody's football. Nice to see you. Football picks, because we're getting to a point. It's going to be. Is it this weekend or next weekend? We're going to have Saturday games too. Is that coming up pretty soon?
I don't think that's this weekend, but you know what? I'll check real fast.
Okay, because
I do know though that on Monday night there's 2 NFL games.
Yes.
And that's annoying.
But that is annoying.
We're one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we only care about one.
I know. The late one, of course.
So week
Right.
15 is the first time, so it'll be
Next
2
week.
weeks.
Well, we are starting week 14 tonight. Tonight starts week 14. So a week and a half, right? Saturday?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what? My math was off. You're right.
Time flies.
Next weekend.
Yeah.
Not this weekend. Mhm.
So we still don't have snow. Like we had a dusting around Halloween, of course. So it's still like I can't wrap my hand around it being December. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 60 degrees today.
What?
Yeah.
That's warmer
Yeah.
than here. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
insane.
That's
actually
my
had-
life
Yeah.
12 months out of the year. Like, what day is it? What season?
What season
It never
is it?
changes.
We had
Yeah,
some brief
it's
flurries yesterday, actually. When
did
my
you?
younger kid reported seeing that on the playground. Like we were at recess and it
Oh,
started snowing. Like what? Very
crazy.
Oh,
surprising.
Wesley. We don't want to mention that team name in this chat. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm
Niners.
just
Oh,
kidding.
Wesley.
No, it's okay. It's okay. What Carla, who is a mutual friend of Carl and myself, is from the 49ers territory. So she's a 49ers fan too. She lives down here, but that's where she came from. So good for her. Her team's doing great. Well,
Yeah, really great, no doubt.
yeah.
I was talking to an Eagles fan today. They were still distraught from their loss this
Oh
last weekend to the
man,
49ers. That was a rough game for them.
that was really, really bad for them. Yes, I'll be nice, Wesley. I am always nice. Well, not always, but usually nice. No, 49ers are doing really well. And when you see Carla around the tube, Wesley, you'll have to, high five each other or whatever you do as a 49ers fan.
Carl, have you been to a Hawkeye game?
Yeah, I went to undergrad there.
Okay.
After a first semester at a small college in Northwest Iowa that's now defunct. I blew out my knee in high school and I tried coming back after surgery, and my knee was too wobbly. So I played as a freshman and started whatever, but my knee was so bad that I've had no fun in it. I loved the game of football. I thought it was the funnest sport. And it was pretty much my life at that point. But when my knee was keeping me from it, I thought I better focus on academics. That's why I transferred to Iowa after the first semester.
Okay.
So, but
Got it.
yeah, so it's I will say though that the 49ers are doing good because they have an Iowa State quarterback, and he's also thrown a lot to George Kittle, their tight end, who is from Iowa.
There you go.
And so so
Wow.
yeah, those two guys. Look at how Kittle was a 5th round pick, and Purdy was the last pick of the draft last year. So or the year before, I should say. So yeah, look how they're really turning on the 49ers now.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Carl, I was really hoping Trey Lance would be a thing, just because he's also from the area. But he's not doing. One of my favorite things about the Packers is the training camp riding the bikes, like the tradition of that. And Don and Matt, I don't know if you know, but at Iowa, they have a children's hospital right across from the stadium. So at one point during the game, the entire stadium and all the players turn and they wave at the kids in the children's hospital. And it's called the Kinnick wave because the children's hospital is Kinnick. Is that right?
Yeah, it's the end of the first quarter every game, and all the fans, including the visiting team, all turns around and waves to the children up there in the hospital wing.
Because the kids are watching the game, like it's one of my favorite traditions.
Oh, for sure, that's beautiful. Yeah. See, football has many benefits. And Wesley reminds us too that the 49ers have had lean years too. Yeah, every team has, right?
Yep,
it's really interesting how the NFL tries to keep things competitive by having the teams that do the best to get the lowest picks when it comes to drafts. So to rebalance every year. And it's also annoying because it seems like a punishment for doing well. But if you didn't do that, all the winning teams would continue to get the best players, and then they would just have 30-year rolls of winning, and it wouldn't be as competitive. So I guess there's some wisdom in that.
Well, yeah,
or if you're just terrible at drafting, you just always stay bad. So.
Yeah.
Well,
and that way keep different fan bases like involved and interested, because if it's just the same team, I don't know, the Patriots winning all the time, it gets boring for the teams. So
totally.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, and that's why it's not hard to kind of pile on Bill Belichick right now. Although I'm starting to feel sorry. He's came back tonight so far, but I'm starting to feel sorry for the old man.
Just retire already.
No, already. And Tom Brady too. Just go. We're done.
Yeah.
I respect them. Okay, so 21-10, the Patriots. Oh, and so what's going on with the Steelers quarterback? They've got Mitch Trubisky. Did they bench their quarterback, or did he get hurt? Was he another one that got hurt this year? Do we know? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, I was gonna look it up, but never mind. Won't do
I
it.
think I saw he got
No.
hurt.
Probably there have been a lot of really serious quarterback injuries this year.
Mhm.
I will
Yeah.
say I can't help but root for Brock Purdy. I mean, I can't not like him. He's, and his family.
So-
They're so cute.
There's been a really interesting discussion / conversation around obviously I've seen it on Packers Twitter about ranking the top 10 quarterbacks and where they would fall. And I heard it with Andy and Justice. They
Mhm.
said, would you pick Jordan Love above? And then they named a lot of quarterbacks. And they said, would Purdy be well in any other system than the Niners and with Kyle Shanahan? And the same question was asked of Jalen Hurts. Would he be good anywhere else other than with the Eagles? And I thought they're very valid questions. Like, is Purdy actually a good quarterback in the NFL, or is he just in the right system for him? And it's
That is a
very
good
valid.
question.
And I don't watch enough, other teams to tell
Right.
you, is he making the good throws, or is it scheming the good throws? I don't know.
I mean, it's a good question
But-
because the Shanahan offense is so built on making it QB friendly and making so you can
Yeah.
you can build around kind of anybody at quarterback, which is not the same thing bad about Brock Purdy. He's obviously doing amazing. He's
Yeah,
in talks for MVP potentially. So not trying to say anything bad about him when I say that, but
right.
it kind of is designed to make any quarterback look good. So yeah, would he be good on other teams? Probably still. He clearly was drafted way too low for his ability level, but
Right.
no, it's a good question for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so many things can affect where they end up on the draft board, and just so many things could just put them way down at the bottom. But people who are scouting, they know what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a good question, and I have watched because a lot of times that's all I can
Yeah.
see. I'm on the West Coast, but he's doing really well, and that too. But remember, Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, you just have to be able to play within. You just have to do
Right.
what the coach asks you to do, which is why I
Mhm.
think Aaron Rodgers, needed to go if we were going to start
Yeah.
moving toward. I mean, we were going from having somebody follow directions and be a rookie, quarterback.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Contrasted with that, and it was just, I'm surprised. I mean, when you think about it, I shouldn't say I'm surprised, but when you think about it, we're at 500 now, but we've beaten some really good teams,
Right.
and we had wins in our reach on like 3 of those games. We should
Yeah.
have won,
Yep.
and that was
Right.
just all the young players just being young.
Mhm.
Right.
So we're doing really well considering everything. I think so. I'm proud of our team. And hey, Mona, nice to see you. Patriots have had too many turns, in my opinion. In parentheses, says the non-Patriot fan. So hey, Mona, who's your team? She's out here in the West Coast too. So it's got to be the Rams or the 49ers, or maybe the Chargers, but I don't think she's from San Diego. So, all right. Well, I like it. I like it. Well, we've had some great content this week. So let's talk about some of these great content creators this week in Packers Twitter, because wow, Washington State. Sorry, hey Mona, Washington State or Washington DC. Sorry, you guys. Seattle or Commanders? Seahawks or the Commanders? Hey Mona. Anywho, so how about, since Katie, you're our guest and I know you've prepared, how about you go first?
Yeah.
And then Carl, you can jump in if you want, comment if you want. Everyone will give their superlative. We get to talk about each one. So let's hear what you have.
Well, I'm going to start it off with my guest on Monday. Are we there?
Yeah, it's crazy. You blinked out for like a
I know,
second. I
right?
was like, "Where'd Katie go?"
was
And then you're back.
weird.
That's
Oh,
super
we
weird.
flipped. That's fine.
Yeah, flip. Okay.
On Monday, I started listening to Packers content after the game, obviously, because this was a game that I wanted to hear what everybody was saying. So I listened to all the Packers podcasts and some of the Packers YouTube and all the press conferences. And honestly, I started at 7 and I don't think I finished until 4 because there was so much. So much.
Yeah.
But the one that caught my attention the most, honestly, was the Green 19 podcast with Tom Silverstein, Cassidy,
Mhm.
Hill, wow, and Ryan Wood.
Mhm.
And I think because they're beat reporters, they're They're on the
Right.
beat. And Tom has been around for, good Lord, is it 40 years?
Forever. Yeah,
And
46 years, I think, this week. If I remember
Wow.
correctly.
He's
it's
older
amazing.
than me. I didn't know anyone was older. Okay, go ahead.
And
didn't think-
Ryan has been covering the team forever too. And they tend to get, the look of always being the negative, the pessimist. And I don't
Right.
think that's what they are, but they're the realist. They're not fans of the team, so they're not going to they'll tell you how it really is. And so listening, there were 2 points in that podcast that I got just full body chills. One was when they were asking, if Jordan Love is the guy. And Ryan Wood was like, yeah, I'm calling him. He's the guy. Like, he's proved over the last 3 weeks. And it doesn't mean he's the guy for, the next 15 years. But right now, he's the guy and he's the franchise quarterback. Like, you can build a franchise. Over there.
There you go.
Oh,
Lost
here
you for
we
a
are.
second.
That was fun.
I heard you can
Just a
build a
little bit.
Fran.
A
Build a
Yeah, you can build
franchise.
a franchise.
A Frankenstein's monster. You can build a Frankenstein's monster.
Probably could, yeah. But you can build a franchise around him, and whether or not he can win a Super Bowl, that's still to be seen, obviously. But it was just, they told you they were real about it, and it was so good. When you hear it coming from people like that, they're telling the truth, and it just gave me a lot of hope and a lot of faith. And then the second part was when they were ready to wrap it up, and Ryan's like, I'm just going to stop. And he goes completely off script. And he goes, I don't know what this team is, and I'm done trying to predict what this team is.
Smart.
But we just need to ride this ride because we were looking easily at a 3-9 team, and now we have the potential to be an 11-6 team. And if you had told us in week 3 or 4 that we would be able to win 11 games, looking at the remainder of the schedule, and the way we were playing, that was never going to happen. And so it was just really fun to hear, and then Tom went off script as well. And it was just really, really fun to hear those guys talk about it. Also, Cassidy could not say MVS's name for the life of her, and it gave me so much joy. I was like, yes, because we hate. I'm not an MVS fan for many reasons.
Right.
So every time and then he's big about pronouncing it right. Like, he would correct people.
Yep.
So every time she said it wrong, I just my insides just giggled. It was great. So if you have not listened to that one, that's an absolute must. Out of my hours of listening, that's the one that you have to go listen to.
That's so solid, Katie, because for me, that's one of my 3 favorite post-game podcasts to go and listen to.
Yeah.
I'm going to mention with other ones actually tonight. We'll get to that later. But Tom Silverstein, he's so crotchety and so crusty and so good, and I love him so much.
Yes.
He's just amazing. The way how it's just like earlier in the season, so what do you think, Spoon? Because they call him Spoon. Silver Spoon is the thing there. So I think Spoon
gets all the digs.
They'll be like, so what do you think? Where the Packers are? He's just like, I don't know. They're
terrible.
Not good. And I was like, oh, maybe they're good. But I think that show really works though, because Cassidy is such a good question asker. She brings a lightness to their kind of or dour sort of delivery. The show used to have, I forget who was on the show before Cassidy started covering the Packers. It was another woman. I can't think who
Olivia?
it was.
Was it Olivia?
Yes.
Yeah.
And she was good too, but Cassidy took it to another level. I love that show. It is really great.
Right.
Yeah. And then the after further review is that's also part of the Green 19. That's another excellent one that if you're not listening to. But that's a great one.
And did you listen to the podcast? Oh, sorry. Oh, hi.
Yeah. Pete Doherty is in after further review.
Yeah.
The podcast or the YouTube channel?
I listen to the podcast, but they also do it on YouTube.
On YouTube. That's what I usually, because then you can see them. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
But I thought it was so good. It was so good. And
I like it.
Highly recommend that one.
I liked it. But, I feel like we're having the kind of content, I don't want to call it dump because that sounds overwhelm in true crime right now that we are in Packers Twitter.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because
really,
Yeah, it's like, oh, I don't have to, like, I'm not getting anything done in my life. I have a life. And
Yeah.
Podcasts are life, Don.
Yeah.
Podcasts are life.
I take off true crime on Mondays. Mondays are all football because that's when I get the big football
that makes
dump.
sense.
And then I try to dig back into the true crime. But Mondays are, true crime is nuts right now too.
Oh, especially,
I'm sorry.
Especially if your last name is Adelson.
Yeah.
And then I'm contributing to the problem, of course.
All of your shorts. I love it. Yes.
My shorts.
Don's out here taking pot shots. Yeah.
I need to stop.
Yeah.
I need to stop. Okay.
I do have to ask though. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Carl, you're a lawyer, is that correct?
Right.
Okay. But you don't practice in Florida, correct?
No.
No. So how did you get into that case?
My brother told me about it. He was following the case, and he has a YouTube channel having to do with brainwashing children, and because of the what's going on with the Adelson grandsons, he started following the case. He told me about it, and I didn't know he followed real true crime before, and I periodically do go on to like Dateline and 2020 and stuff like that just to see what's going on, crime across America on these murder cases and stuff like that. So I started listening to it on my 11-hour drive back to Tennessee, and so I was pretty dumbfounded at how the case was delayed so much, and there was lack of justice for the victims. So anyway, so he started interviewing me, and next thing you know, then it just sort of took off from there a little bit. But
okay, and I feel like you and your brother sound very similar. So when I'm listening to podcasts, I get confused on who is who. Is it you or your brother that has the 150 list?
That's
it was both. It was mostly me talking.
Okay.
Yeah, it was mostly me talking. He was there with me on the video.
Okay, because when you go on with Joel on STS, I think you guys were up to 120 at the time. So so that's your list. Okay,
actually 92. I got to 92 on that channel. So
you got up to 92. Okay,
got it.
I wasn't
sorry. Had to off track for a second.
That's totally fine. That's what we're here for. Carl's brother, his name is John Steinbeck. Gotta love that.
John. Okay.
And his channel is called Brainwashing Children, and Carl's channel is Jury Trial Mentor. So just,
okay.
Yeah. And John and Carl will be on with me tomorrow discussing more about the Adelson situation
on your channel.
On this channel. Yes.
Awesome.
Okay.
When's that show going to air? When can people catch that? What's it called?
So that is same channel right here. It's just a different playlist, and I don't know what it's called. I keep changing it. It was called Interrotech, but it's just my Dawn McKeesco channel. But I'm calling it Potential Juror because that's what we really are. We're potential jurors. Yeah. And so we're going on at 6 my time Pacific, right? And 8 Central, 9 Eastern tomorrow night. So So if you're interested in a really important case, and I say it's important because of there's so many reasons we won't get. I've mentioned that case on this show so many times.
I know.
So it's hard not to. And I was moving on to other cases after Charles Adelson's verdict, which was on the 4th. But
you moved on for one whole week.
We got through a
whole week.
And it's like his mother gets arrested, and I mean it's just nonstop. So I can control that. I am in control of my life, so I don't have to watch every single thing.
I know.
It's so hard. It's like, whoa, what's that? Oh, I forgot what he's doing, and it's like, oh my God, it's 5 o'clock or whatever. I missed a doctor's appointment or something. Yes. So. All right, so Maddie Pickett, what do you have for us superlatives?
Yeah, well, I've got 3 as usual, but I'll give you one right now. So, Katie's just talking about a really good post-game podcast to listen to. Green 19, it is exceptional. I highly recommend it. But the one that's actually become my favorite over the course of the season is The Repack, which is a show with Justice Mosqueda and Evan Tex Western. It's through Acme Packing Company. And I just think these are two of the smartest people talking about the Packers right now. And like some people, like it's like if you know how smart they are, but I feel like a lot of people don't actually get it. Because they go on pretty much after the game and they have these like complicated, complex, well thought out ideas about the game and the players and the season. I'm always like, the insight they bring to just like breaking down a game right after it happened blows my mind. They're so good and interesting, and it's a great show. There's a lot of Acme Packing Company feed shows that people I think just aren't listening to as much as they should be, aren't talking about as much as they should be. So I'm always happy to, hype those up, especially, we've talked about Reporting is Eligible a lot in the last year, and that's one of the shows in that feed as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, the repack right after every game, highly recommended. Really, really smart stuff.
Ooh, that sounds good. I don't remember hearing about 3-pack. Is that new? Is that a new show?
No,
How did I miss
repack,
that?
not 3-pack.
Oh,
Repack.
repack. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Like an anagram of Packer.
I was like, what's a 3-pack? Anyway, okay.
Ooh, look at that.
It's like a half of a 6-pack, I guess.
I started following the Acme Podcast Company because of Matub, actually, and Reporting is Eligible.
Oh,
Because
he's so
I
good.
realized finally how dang smart he is. Like, stupid smart.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
And he's so witty, and it's just not fair. Like, they just come, and I'm just like, dude.
How does your brain work? Yeah.
Yeah. So then I started listening. I started following the feed, and so then I started getting into more. And Justice is so dang smart too.
Oh my God.
It's insane. It is. Yeah.
And I'll say too that like it maybe is like, I don't know. I almost feel dumb for being like impressed by this, but I am. The fact that he's like friends with a bunch of other like national media people who I also like respect and listen to. Like he's on a group chat with like Mina Kimes and Nate Tice, and it's just like,
right.
What? That's amazing.
Yeah. Smart people.
Smart and connected. Yep.
Well, it's best. Yeah. It's better to listen to smart people, right? Because some of it will eventually wear off on you. You don't want to listen to dumb people. That's my thinking. It's like, I'm going to learn something one of these days. Something's going to stick.
Eventually
at least a second. It'll stick for a second.
Oh, Dawn.
Yes. All right, Dawn, you got one?
Okay, I've got one. If you're on the, if you're watching, I'm just going to pop it on the screen. Boom. This goes to Aaron Alice. And this is kind of an inside joke, but I'll explain. So if you're listening to the podcast, my first superlative is best graphic of the week, and that goes to Aaron Alice. And she did a mock-up of the Time Person of the Year. And instead of Taylor Swift, she has sledding Mark Murphy.
Of course.
Okay, so if you're not familiar, she's known for putting this is the president of the Green Bay Packers, and she has a cutout of him sledding. Well, it's actually not. It's a tube, isn't it? It's not even a sled, but whatever. Down the snow. What do you call that? The hill at Lambeau Field.
The sledding hill.
Sledding hill. Yeah. Yes. Okay. At Lambeau Field, and it's adorable. And so she said, in fact, her commentary there was just as cute. Let's see if I can get it. She said, "One day, my sweet sledding ginger. One day." You have to know Aaron, but she takes this little cutout of Mark Murphy and hides it all over other pictures and graphics, and she keeps us entertained all year, finding the president of the Green Bay Packers, Mark Murphy, sledding down the hill in all kinds of places. But this one was great because we're tired of we like Taylor Swift, nothing against her, but enough already, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
I'd rather see. Yeah, so
Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that video like a year ago of somebody like walking down the sidewalk of New York, and it's like she thinks she's the star, and there's all these people passing her, like looking at her, and halfway in the video is Mark Murphy.
Yep, wearing a Packers winter hat.
Yes,
yeah, it's hilarious. It's like, wait, what? Because remember when this started being posted, people were like, you got to watch this to the end. Like you're not gonna be able to anticipate what you see here, and then all of a sudden, Mark Murphy, what?
I thought it was like somebody edited in to be funny. Like, No, it's him, legit.
I
Just
think it's really him. Yeah.
so
Mhm.
as you see him in the sledding hill, that's how he dresses every single
Yes.
day.
Yes.
Like he's wearing that same outfit walking down the streets of New York City with the Packers hat. Don't forget the
Sure.
Packers hat
Sure.
with the pom
He's a
pom.
classic. He's a classic.
Oh, it's so good. It's
You know,
so good.
actually, can I just insert something here, you guys? Since we're talking about Mark Murphy, can I play this clip from a little back from John Meerdink
Yeah.
with talking about Mark Murphy? It's 49 seconds. One of my favorite things from the whole entire season, actually. Here.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's listen.
So, for the purposes of this exercise, I need you to imagine that you are Mark Murphy. You wake up on just pick a random day of the week, say it's a Wednesday morning, have your bowl of oatmeal for breakfast. He seems like an oatmeal guy. You put on your JCPenney suit. You put on your Green Bay Packers tie that you got on clearance sale at the Packers Pro Shop, and you told them that you got to use your employee discount on top of that. What a bargain for you. Then you climb on your penny farthing bicycle and pedal your way to Lambeau Field because it's time to make some decisions. You wave at the sledding hill on the way by. You just think, a couple months from now, boy, we're going to be getting after it on the sledding hill. You are Mark Murphy. You are sitting down in your office at Lambeau Field, and it is time to make some decisions. How do you make that decision?
So
It's
good.
gold.
So good.
It's waving at the
I
sledding hill.
forgot about that. I forgot about that.
Oh,
In the tie
I
on
know, I'm
clearance
coffee
in the
now.
pro shop. Oh, man. Oh, so perfect.
okay.
That's our
So hearing that voice, this is what I learned this week about John Meerdink as I was listening. How old do you think he is? Just hearing that voice.
Oh, I know. If I didn't know, I would say like he's got to be like in his 50s.
Yes.
Just like the weight of the world, and experience, and like in his voice. Yeah, no, he's younger than me. He's younger than you.
Matt, he's younger than me.
Exactly. Mhm.
Yeah, well, he has a statuesque voice for sure. He's been on
I
our show.
was-
Yeah.
I was
He's
shocked.
good. He's
Yeah.
really good
Yeah.
at what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a great voice. I asked him, one of the questions when we interviewed him was where he got his voice. Well, he got his writing. Wasn't his father a writer too? I think.
I want to say yes, but I'm not
Yeah.
positive.
So I asked him if he got the voice there too, which would stand to reason.
Sure.
Yeah.
genetic,
Got a
sure.
great voice.
Mhm.
Got a great radio voice.
Oh,
The best.
Great.
The best.
Tiny.
Yeah.
yeah.
Love it. Carl, any thoughts so far? You wish you were somewhere else?
You guys are talking about some stuff I don't quite know,
Right.
but I know who Mark Murphy is.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I follow the Packers, and I like the Packers. So I like their blue collar type work ethic, and the fact
Mhm.
that they always have a lot of Iowa players there that they draft. And there's a defensive tackle, I can't think of his name, but he did pretty well for them. And I know he scored a touchdown or two for y'all. And I think one of the times I was in a playoff game, and I can't think of his
Oh,
name.
Raji.
BJ Raji.
No. He was
That's what I was thinking.
he was a stout guy, like 6 foot, 290 something. And
Aren't they all?
it was he finished out probably about 6 years ago now, but he played for you guys for like 7-8 years, I think it was. So, but he was like a third round draft pick out of Iowa, and
He was from Iowa, of course.
yep. And so yeah, you guys you always have an Iowa player that's playing for you guys. It seems like in the last 15 years.
Yeah, the Packers like to scout from Iowa, don't they?
Right.
And certain teams. We lost
Well, you
your,
guys-
picture.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I
It's
hit
okay.
something there. Oh, I think my camera overheated. Sorry.
Oh no.
So what happened was you guys also drafted, for example, Josh Jackson. He was a second round draft pick. And
Oh,
he was a first team All-American, and he never panned out. And you guys
Mhm.
drafted Alexander ahead of him in the first round out of Louisville. And I thought,
Yep.
why would they pick him out ahead of Josh Jackson, who had that awesome year? But Alexander's done good. He's still playing for y'all, I think. And Josh
Yep.
Jackson, he never really played. And I don't even know if he's still in the league right now.
So are you thinking of Mike Daniels? Is that who you're thinking of?
Yeah, yep. There you go. Mike Daniels. Yes.
He's so great. He's a great interview too. There's another show that I'm involved with where we had him on to interview, and it was like he was so passionate and just a really great speaker. So yeah, he's a little crazy in like the best possible way for somebody in the defense. Yeah, Good dude.
He's the one that keeps on saying that we need more of that crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
We
right,
just
right,
need a
right.
little bit more of that. Yeah, crazy is the best way to put it.
Absolutely.
That rawness, like rawness, right?
Yeah, just that mean, go get 'em attitude, like that.
I feel like we're getting there though with that, don't you?
Carrington Valentine's.
Yeah,
I think it
think-
helped. Oh, sorry, we all talked at once.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I just answered my own question. I think it really helps that we have a quarterback, by the way, who sorry. Hi, Jordan. A quarterback who will smack talk, and he's tough, and he gallops, and he prances, and he's mean, and he was talking back. I remember seeing, I don't know if it's the last game or the game before that, where he was like, blah, 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 yelling, and the ref was kind of coming along with it, because I think the ref was about to call a personal on him for whatever unsportsmanless or whatever it was. But yeah, I think it helps to have a quarterback like that. He's a little crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and like Matt was saying too, with Valentine, that kid's got swag for days. And that's really great to see. And like that hit that Owens, on Mahomes, he was still in bound, whatever. But he went after him, he didn't just hit him, So it's good to see. It's good to see that.
Yeah.
You actually,
Tackle 'em.
fun fact, you guys, Carrington Valentine actually went to high school in Cincinnati.
Oh,
Really?
Which, Carl, that's where I am. So the reason why there's a tie in there. So yeah, he's around here.
So, but not college by you. He went where did he
He went
go?
to Sworn, Kentucky for college, I think.
Okay.
Also, Sean Clifford from Cincinnati, by the way.
Oh, that's right.
Mhm.
And then you had somebody else too. Oh, maybe that was it. Last draft.
Yep, just those two.
Yeah. Okay.
Now Sauce.
What?
Sauce Gardner. He's from UC,
Sauce.
isn't he?
Well, yeah. But from this last draft, no, Sauce, and who I met at orientation, at his orientation. So
Yeah, because you gave him his nickname.
Oh no, I didn't give his nickname. No, but he already changed his name in the student information system. So
That's what it was.
As Sauce Gardner instead of Ahmad. And
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
he had swagger from the get-go. That's for sure.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, Katie, what do you have next? Unless you have a superlative for us, Carl. Unless you've thought of something, you just pipe right in. Okay, no. Katie and Jordan, what do you two have left now?
So speaking of Jordan, I'm going to go with that 4th and Dobbs, that 4th and 1.
Mm-hmm.
When I first watched it, I'm like, oh my God, what is he doing? He's just chucking it up, praying, please God, let somebody be there, or it's just going to get intercepted. It's what I was fully anticipating. Also, what a freaking gutsy call on a 4th and 1. Like, why are we not just running AJ Dillon? Like, what? But anyway, there's a lot of that play, and there were a couple really great breakdowns of that actual play. That the one I think that does the best job is Dan Orlovsky broke it down, and I bookmarked it, so I'll send it to you guys so you can watch it. But because he broke it down from the beginning, and they're doing set, hut, whatever. And Jordan is sending somebody in motion. And there's a reason for that motion, which I don't know football, but I'm slowly starting to learn like the X's and O's. You don't just send somebody in motion to confuse, but he was doing it to get a read on what the defense was doing, what the safeties were doing, whether or not they were in zone coverage or man coverage, those types of technical things. But anyway, so Jordan got the read. And then right after he saw that, whatever he saw, he canned the play. And so like on the breakdown that Andy Herman did, because he also did a great breakdown, he doesn't show Jordan canning the play. So Jordan killed the play and went to a different one because of what he read the defense. So Dan Orlovsky was saying, it's his favorite Jordan Love play to date because, what is Jordan seeing? What is he reading? Why is he doing the things that he's doing? And so he broke it down. And that, if anybody tells you that play was just luck and he was just chucking it, hoping Dobbs was going to be there. No, he knew Dobbs was going to be there because of the way the safeties were playing, because of whatever they showed him. He knew that person was going to be empty in the field and in the middle of the field, and he could sit down. And he threw that ball like nobody's business. And I remember a couple years in training camp, you know, they were making fun of Jordan Love because it was the net drill, you know, where they had to throw the ball into the net down the field. And he missed, like, I don't know, he made maybe 2 out of 10, you know, and Rodgers is just hitting him. And that throw just reminded me of the net drill. Like the placement on that ball, it went up and it went in the net. He knew where it was going to be, and he placed that ball. And then to have somebody in his face falling backwards, feet off the ground, being able to throw that ball where he wanted to place it was just phenomenal. And people are saying, well, you know, AJ Dillon had the check down, which technically he did, but based on the people that were coming at him this way, the arm angle that he would have had to have thrown the ball to get it around those defensive players to AJ Dillon, it was easier for him to do the bucket, to do that toss. So it was fascinating. It really, that one, and then that next Christian Watson touchdown, those two, like my reaction to those two throws back to back were just, man, it was just pretty. And just hearing the breakdowns and like getting into the technicals, getting into what is he seeing? What is he reading? Why is that safety moving? Why are we throwing this player in motion? Why are we canning, you know, the play? It was all really interesting. So if you haven't seen the breakdowns of that throw, highly recommend. You'll learn something.
Absolutely. And
I just did.
That drive felt like Morpheus, you know, watching Neo, and he says like he's starting to believe. That's what it felt like. It was like he's really putting some stuff together, some really high level stuff. And you could also mention JT O'Sullivan's breakdown, which QB school every week, amazing.
Yep,
every week.
So good.
You know, he of course is more on like when is Jordan throwing it, like what's the anticipation, and it's crazy anticipation for that one. Like he sees the read, like you mentioned, he's throwing it right in time, really fast before the guy can knock him down. You know. But yeah, Dan Orlovsky's breakdown of that was excellent for sure. That was a good one.
Yeah. The big A, capital A anticipation.
I love it. Huge
if you know. And that's the same with that Christian Watson, because Andy broke that touchdown down too. He's like, look at this screen. Look at Jordan Love throwing this ball. You see where the ball is going. Do you see Christian Watson anywhere in this screen? Like, I don't. It's incredible to me.
It's so good.
Like,
it's just so good.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be a Packer fan.
Yeah.
Carl, and you might not know this, and maybe you do, but like Jordan Love is our current quarterback, and he was drafted a few years ago, but we had COVID and then other reasons where before becoming QB1, before Rodgers left for the Jets, he only was on the field a couple of times. So this is it this season. So that's why we're saying we didn't know what to expect. And then for him to develop right in front of our eyes, it's just been phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, he's sort of like a wild guess as to whether he'd pan out, just like Aaron Rodgers. You didn't know, even though he's first round. Look how many first round busts you have in the history of the NFL draft in the last 30 years, right? Most of them don't pan out. And then you can have a fifth rounder or the last pick of the last round, like Brock.
Yeah.
And so, going back to Matt's earlier comment, though, I don't think 49ers will have a system type that's automatically going to be conducive to having an average quarterback do good. I think it's a combination of a lot of factors, and a lot of it has to do with coaching and their ability to be leaders, and also the ability to have an offense that's comprehensible, and especially a new player. But yet you also have to have the complexity aspects of it, because if it's too simple, then the defense is going to be able to shut everything down. So it's so many moving parts to it. But I think ultimately the main thing you have to have is excellent coaching. And that's the thing I think I see Matt LaFleur doing. He's another young coach, just like Kyle Shanahan. And so he has ability to connect with players, ability to motivate them. I mean, look at these guys. You never think they're, able to lead these gladiators out on the field, because they're not really big, tough guys themselves, but they have the brains behind it. And a lot of these younger coaches now coming out in the NFL. I mean, look at the guy that was with the Rams. I forget his name, but Sean McVay. I mean, look how good he did. And so you have a lot of these guys that are offensive geniuses. And look at Belichick. Belichick, he's not a real rah-rah kind of guy. He's so demure and stuff like that. And so I think a lot of it has to do with how well you know the details, how you're able to motivate folks, what kind of chemistry culture. I think culture is really underrated. And so I think what you have, look at the front office you have for the 49ers, for example. You have stability and consistency. You got a Hall of Famer in Lynch, and look at the Packers. You have a consistency there. Murphy's been there for a lot of years, from what I recall. Right, he's been there the whole time. Aaron's been there and whatnot, and then so, like you're saying, Dawn, Aaron Rodgers was miffed at the fact they drafted a first-round quarterback. It's like, wait a minute, now I got to look over my shoulder and that kind of thing. But if you're really about team focus and you do want to have good backups behind you, because it's all about the team, right? It's just not about you. So I thought, I was surprised to see that. And so, but then you also had the issue with Brett Favre and whatnot, the way he was sort of like, saying he's going to retire and he wasn't, and all that kind of stuff. And they finally showed him the door, and that took a real leadership gutsy call there by the front office. And so they showed it sort of is team over individuals. And so I think that's played pretty well for the Packers. And it looks like they got the right guy here with Jordan Love, he's playing so far. So I think it's a combination of things. And but I think that he's really shown himself, from what I've seen of the plays and how you guys are turning it on right now, that you guys maybe found a keeper there.
Music to our ears.
I hope.
That's such a good point, Carl, about like the all the things that have to go into it. And I think also an underrated aspect is that coaches have to be good teachers. And if they're not, if they can't communicate the things, because there's so many details you need to have in place to be successful for like any given play. So a good teacher, good motivator, somebody who has a good culture, all these things. Absolutely.
Well, look also the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo, he got him to the Super Bowl, but he was sort of a liability for him the whole time, despite all these offensive talents around him. And then even what's his name before he got hurt, their first rounder, he's the fourth pick, they traded up to get him out of North Dakota.
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance,
yeah. And look at even if he wasn't hurt, he was going to get benched in favor of Brock, from what I recall. So so it doesn't matter for quarterback so much as what round you're drafted. I think quarterback, there's so much has to do with the mentality of the quarterback. That you have to be able to not be easily rattled. You have to have some kind of mental toughness and just a real warrior mindset. And if you look at a lot of the best quarterbacks, that's what they got. They don't get rattled easily. They're just in there and they're slugging it out. Now, keep in mind also, if you have quarterbacks that are in the wrong system, most of them aren't going to do good. Right. So, if you put Jordan Love with, a team that's doing really bad right now, he's not going to turn them around and all of a sudden do with them. Look at Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman, you stick him on a sub 500 team, he would have never made a single Pro Bowl. Right. So there's so much about the chemistry, how good is the talent around you, how good is the coach? Are the coaches able to extract the talent and really develop a team type approach to everything, team over self.
Well said.
I think that was a part of the problem with our old quarterback.
That's all that's been going through my head right now. The culture,
by the end of it.
all of it. Yep.
Yeah. And it's by the end, especially. And now getting into the true crime stuff, like, I'm not a therapist, but I would probably label him as a narcissist. Like
not a team player.
Allegedly.
Not. I always felt like he wasn't team-oriented leader. I felt like I always asked people, "Do you think he's a leader? Do you think he's a good leader?" And they would say yes, and I'd say, "But how do you form that opinion?" Just because I wanted to know, and so what to continue on because I got that. I felt like the culture was all muffled for the last few years, and I did feel like what Carl said. I didn't feel like I felt like he was getting rattled. He might not have shown it outwardly, but
absolutely.
I didn't.
And part of that's age.
Sure.
No, just because like these young kids, they don't care if they're getting hit. Or once you hit, he's 38. I mean, he just tore his Achilles the last 3 years. He had an injury.
Yeah.
So I don't. That's part of it too.
Look how Brett Favre and also Aaron Rodgers, they sort of became more about them than the team by some of the stuff they're doing publicly, right? And look how that the team suffered as a result. But
can't get over that.
compare that to any of the other top quarterbacks, anybody from Drew Brees to Tom Brady.
Mhm.
You know, they don't. I mean, look how many times Brady took a pay cut just to help make
Yep.
sure they could sign the guy that he wanted. I mean, that's
True.
real leadership.
For
And you're
sure.
going to have guys that want to fight for a guy like that. But if you have a guy sticking their neck out saying it's all about, you know, I'm the best guy on the team. I'm the one, you know, that's that you guys depend on, and it's not about all of us. If there's that kind of like vibe that's coming across from a quarterback, that really can send a, you know, negative repercussions through the team chemistry, and then you don't have people that are willing to go the extra mile to protect the quarterback or whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, it's all, like I say, I think it starts really in the front office and who they select for leaders, and so I think you know, you guys are coming on strong here.
It's crazy. I mean,
Jordan,
it's crazy
go
to
ahead.
believe that we might have 3 really great quarterbacks in a row. That would be like, we've had 30 years now, another 10 years. This is
Yeah, that
Yeah.
doesn't happen. How often
It
does that
doesn't.
happen? You know.
Never.
no.
Hey, look also for the system. I mean, Belichick has had a system like, you know, like no other. So the real issue as well, is it really more Tom Brady? Is it more really Belichick? Because even when Tom Brady blew out his knee that one year, and they had that that no-name starter guy that I think he made the Pro Bowl that one year, he replaced him. And it showed it's sort of like, hey, it's an easy to learn system, but yet they're still winning and all that kind of stuff. So I like to say it's not so much the system as the whole chemistry, the whole approach to everything. And anyway, so it's interesting to see. I think just let alone from a leadership standpoint.
That's one thing from Jordan Love I've really liked so far is that he seems selfless. You know, he seems like he really is very much a team player. He's very, you know, even keeled. He's not in his press conferences. He's just answering the questions. He's not trying to be flashy. I think that's that's really refreshing. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Not so careful about every word and how it appears. And it's really nice. It has been refreshing this year. It's just wonderful, like taking a shower. And Tennis Girl weighing in here, Carl. Tennis Girl says football and Carl, two great things that go great together.
Well, see, I look at football is since my career ended too soon. I look at the courtroom as the mental game of football. So a lot of the stuff that it's about leadership, it's about taking charge, tenacity, willpower, out preparing your opponent. I mean, there's everything this really translates into trial law. So
it's interesting.
I like that.
Great.
So I don't pay much attention to college football, but one thing that's kind of come across this season, especially for the Packers, is because our team is so young, because we have one of the youngest, like the youngest in the NFL, one thing that they kept on saying is that these guys need to learn how to win. And it really like took me a long time to understand what that meant. But then after watching a couple of college games, they just go out and play and they just win, especially the kids that are getting drafted by the NFL. Like they're on those really good teams like Georgia and Bama and Texas and, you know, just in Florida, and the list goes on. So they just go out there, they play, and they just win. Very few of them had losing games. So it wasn't something that they had to learn how to do. It just happened. So now that they're in the NFL and they're playing teams of equal caliber, it's a lot harder to win. And so they have to learn to put those emotions aside, to put everything aside, and actually learn how to win a football game. And it just was something that kind of hit me this year.
I like the interpretation of that phrase, Katie, because I feel like I've heard that a lot this year because of the young players. And I've always been like, I don't really understand what you're saying. So I like that break. That's good.
Whether or not it's real, that's my thoughts on it.
Oh, it's real. It's not just the learning, but it's also the whole sports psychology. That's why sports psychologists are parts of all of the teams as well. And fear. Like when you think about, I don't know, when I was young, I would do like backflips in the air and flips in the air and all these crazy things without any fear. And I could probably, well, maybe not this year, but up until last year, I could probably pull some of those things off, but I would have stopped myself. Right. And I honestly felt like something happened to Rodgers the last few years where there was like a fear of winning or a fear of going for it, or something was going on that wouldn't let him, because the losses in the playoff games were ridiculous. We should have won. You know, he was capable. The team was capable. There was something blocking him. And when there's not something physical and you think the coaching is good in the organization, which is shown to be solid, you got to think it's got to be mental. That's just my,
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree.
Yeah. And I think he needed a new team, and he'll do, unfortunately got hurt right away, but he'll probably do better. Hope.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care, but he probably needed that change is what I meant, you know?
Yeah.
So I was all for it. Yeah. For all sides. Yeah. Cool. So let's see. Do you have a new superlative, Katie, or where are we?
I was going to ask a question. Carl, what kind of law do you practice?
Well, I have a virtual office out of McKinney, Texas. So that's exclusively focused on military service members. And so those are for like anything admin, adverse actions, all the way to full court martials. So those can happen around the world and whatnot. And I also can do if it's having to do with civilian personnel, adverse actions as well, discrimination, that kind of thing. That's something I can take more affirmative actions for, rather than for service members, more exclusively defense orientated work. So, but I'm looking at, I'm in the process right now, I'm moving back to Texas. So I'm going to expand my practice to other areas as well. So I won't have just a virtual office.
Wow. Military law, I bet, is fascinating.
Yeah, because it's really, you know, and that's why football it's really translates to so many things in life, because, you know, the military is all about, you know, being tough fighters and all that kind of stuff. You have physical training to do. You got to be fit. If you're not fit, they get rid of you. So, you know, it's sort of like you got, you know, not boot camps or rookie camps, but you do have, you know, physically have to perform, otherwise they drum you out. And you also have to deal with a lot of, you know, different rank structures and politics as well. It's heavily political. And so, you know, it can be very, very challenging at times. You have a lot of strong-willed people, right? You're not going to find a lot of folks that aren't type 8 personality. So, and if you do have some, they're usually not going to last that long. But, you know, then again, you have to, what I say is always there's different cultures. I mentioned that earlier. And so it's so critical to understand the culture that you're in. And so, for example, me being Army, we have a different culture than the Air Force. You know, there's a different mindset of the Air Force type guys. Then you look at the Navy. The Navy's totally different mindset. And then you look at the Marine Corps. They're even a completely different mindset, even though they're a subcomponent of the Navy, right? So, and then we got to all gel together if we're like on a military base and stuff like that. So a lot of that's sort of like in sports too. You got guys from all over different places. If you're in the NFL, even in college, it's that way. You know, now they're drafting a lot of, you know, people all around the nation. And especially with the NIL and the transfer rules and all that kind of stuff. It's like the turnover. I just read the other day, the turnover rate in college is like 30% now. And I think it's going to even spike worse this year. It's going to continue to do that. So I think the culture aspects is so key. And then you look at the Army itself. And so each China job you have, well, they have their own culture in that as well. You know, so if you're a combat arms specialist, you know, like a rifleman or infantryman or something like that, compared to somebody that's more of a logistics
computer
or a computer guy, you know, we all wear the same uniform, but yet your mindset, your culture of the people you work around, it's so different. And just because you do well in one doesn't mean you're going to do well in the other. You can be a complete disaster in another area. You know what I mean? And the thing is, like the NFL, though, you get moved around every 2 years. Pretty much that's the standard. And so you got to get used to new people, and then you got to get used to new culture. And so if you can't adapt well to that kind of environment, you know, you're not going to do very good. And so you got to be able to gel really quick and really be part of the team focus. Because if you're about yourself, you can easily get cast aside.
Wow.
Cultures.
Never thought of it that way.
Cultures, subcultures, subcultures.
Right.
Culture is such a big thing to. Yeah, that's a really good point.
And you know, the thing is, you know. And the thing is, I'll say this: if you know the real hua, the real tough guys, they don't advertise, they don't brag, they just get the job done.
That's right.
I mean, you look at like Navy SEALs and stuff like that. They're some of the most laid back kind of guys, and they're the toughest of the toughest. They're not the biggest, they're not the strongest, they're
Yep.
just, it's that mental toughness. It's like almost like they're
Right.
the quarterback type mentality to survive in the NFL. Right.
Yeah.
So that's really, I think it translates into so many different occupations and whatnot. So this kind of theory I have about culture and how people either fit in or they don't. And that really determines who rises to the top and who gets washed out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just got goosebumps. I love that. That was so good.
Good question too, Katie.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're up to Matt if we're going to
Is it
head back
Maddie's
to
turn?
superlative.
Yeah, for better
Alright.
superlatives.
Okay. Okay.
We're
Yeah,
still
for
on that
Spain.
somehow.
All right. Well, my second superlative that I have for tonight is most underrated podcast. And saying before that, like the Acme Packing Company stuff isn't as like widely discussed or I feel like listened to, even more so for this one. So this is one that's called Go Dads Go, and in season they have Gilbert Brown on every week.
Oh.
Gilbert Brown is so fun to listen to. He's super laid back, but then he'll express like the most snarky opinion. And then like display like this wealth of like, knowledge from his experience as an actual player in the NFL and like the insight he has, the kind of like snarky but laid back like sense of humor he has. It's really good mix in it. So it's him, and then the actual people who are like the year round folks are Robin Adams and Brian Maffey, both of whom have been on our show.
Yes.
Friends of the show, Brian
Friends
and
of the
Robin,
show.
good dudes.
Yep.
And they do a great job of like kind of keeping the show on the rails, but also like drawing stuff out of Gilbert and kind of asking questions to get him to talk about, his experience and stuff like that. And it's just a fun listen. I could listen to Gilbert Brown all day. He's great. So that's, again, it's called Go Dads Go. And it's about an hour-long episode each week. Definitely worth putting some time into.
Love it.
Yep.
And that's a play on, in case you didn't know it, Carl, Go Pack Go. Because that's our saying. Go Pack Go, Go Dads Go. I like that.
I've heard that.
Okay.
I've seen enough games.
Next year, you're coming to the Packer game with us three. That'll be so
There you
fun.
go. There it is.
Okay, so my next superlative is very visual. Both of my superlatives this week were visual because I'm kind of into my visual side right now. And I was wondering if I should show it. I wouldn't. It'll play on the podcast because it's got sound too. So what do you think? It's going to be, you know what it is, don't you?
I know
you guys know what it is?
Go ahead if you make it work. It's awesome.
It's the great Nathan Marzion.
Oh, he's so good.
He's so good.
He's so good.
Okay, let me see if I can find it. Okay, hold on one sec. So and I found him from the Bucks.
Yep.
And now he's
Bucks
making these incredible videos. So this is a mashup that he did, a Jurassic Park mashup. And for those of you who aren't familiar, because we do have some new audience here from the True Crime family. So the Packers are in the North
NFC North Division.
NFC North, thank you, with the Cubs, the Vikings, and the Lions. So it's us four. So this
You said the Cubs. I love that. No,
I
sorry,
was like, how
Cubs.
about the Bears?
So sorry. I was looking at the screen. And I'm looking at the C for Chicago. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to play this. I'm going to put it on full screens for full effect. And here, this is just masterful. Oh, and by the way, it's getting close to 1 million views.
Oh, wow.
Hold on.
What is that? Where's the goat? I have got big.
You gotta fight for your right to you smoking man, he says no way. That hypocrite smokes 2 packs a day.
Expose him!
Expose him! Now you must throw away your best corner man. You gotta fight!
No!
for your
Stop!
right
Please, no!
to
Nathan Marzin, you're a
Oh,
genius.
oh, that
so
was so
good.
fun. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Okay, let me get it off the screen here. It was so fun to see that. And I know like that, the detail that he went into, the little sound effects and everything were just off. Okay, how come it's okay? We're just like perfection. Perfection, the little no, God, no at the end.
With a Hail
You can
Mary.
hardly
Oh,
hear.
God, no.
If I wasn't watching, if I hadn't seen the game myself and had that same feeling, I might not have even heard that part. But it was just fun. Thank you for indulging us, Carla. This probably doesn't matter at all to you, but that was so good. That was so good.
He's
Well
so
done.
good.
He's like 18,
Yeah,
right?
he's
He's
so
real
good.
young. And, yeah, he's inspiring me. I got to step up my video games.
How old is he? He's not old. He's at least
No,
He's not
21.
old.
Yeah.
Maybe he's 21. Okay,
Yeah, I know
he's
he's
looked
I know that he's
young.
at least 21. I remember when he
Oh,
turned 21. I remember that. So.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. We have a
But
lot
not
of
much
Carl. We have some really wonderful youth Packers that we've watched grow up, and some of them even had like we have the underage Packer podcast. They were 15, I think, when they started. Now they're off to college, and it's kind of cool. It's a nice little community. It's kind of like the true crime community where we get to know each other a little bit virtually. Hey, Iowa Joe. Speaking of the community, nice to see you. Yeah, now we can start. Okay. This is gonna be one of our longer shows ever, but hey, it's been fun. So that was my second superlative best video mashup goes to Nathan. So that was fun. I had to play it again. It was just too good.
Yeah, he's so good.
The content has been crazy. It gets better and better. And that's what I like about creative people that are doing that kind of thing is they really encourage one another. Like I wasn't doing any videos until like I got sick and I couldn't do any lives and I couldn't talk. So the society page, who you probably know, I was sending those videos to you. You're probably driving me nuts. But she's like, go for it, do your own. And I'm like, okay, I'll do some videos too, because it doesn't matter. You don't have to be perfect. And that's one of
Just have fun.
Just have fun with it. And I'm like, look what I did. And it does, I don't have, any, it's just fun to do. It's just fun to do it. And it's better to do it than not to do it. If you have that in you, if you see something, that's it. So anyway, good for you, Nathan. I'm sure he'll have 1 million by tonight views on that thing.
Oh, probably. Yeah. I did some quick detective work. He graduated from Marquette last year, so he's probably 23-ish.
Oh, okay. I've been following him since all the Milwaukee Bucks. Do you like basketball, Carl?
College, for the most part. I follow
Yeah.
a few players in the pros, but not much.
Yeah. Well, those are my two superlatives. Katie, do you have another one for tonight?
I do. Yep. I don't remember what I think I said, like best beat reporter. I don't know what you want to call him, but this one's to Matt Schneidman.
Oh.
He has upped his game so much this year, and he's so good for the team.
Mm-hmm.
I just love him.
Mm-hmm.
He was on, but he still keeps it real and like small town too, So like he started doing the Matt Schneidman show once a week, or I think it's every night.
Every week.
I think it's every weeknight.
Yep.
Yeah. Is it 97.3? Is that what station?
You're on iHeartRadio app too.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. But so he does that, and then he does the brick and stick.
The brick and the stick.
There's an restaurant. Brick and Stick with John Kuhn. So him and John Kuhn do a weekly podcast, which if you're not listening to that one, my goodness, you need to be, because getting an NFL player, especially a previous, like you were saying with Gilbert Brown, like getting their perspective on stuff.
Right.
Listening to John Kuhn chat about it is so fun too. And Matt, just their chemistry together is just great as well. And then he was on Lombardi's Bar last night also, which
Yes.
that as a guest, with Game On Wisconsin. And he's just so fun and so down to earth. And the number of bald head pictures he has in his phone is so great.
Of fellow beat reporter Rob Domowski.
Oh, all the okay.
And they all bust each
Okay.
other's chops all the time.
Yeah, he's always they've got a little thing going back and forth, and he takes pictures. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So they asked him
funny.
last night how many, and in the last month, I think they're up to about a dozen. It's so funny. It's just great. So shout out to Matt Scheidman.
I love him. I love it. He's a New Yorker. I like New Yorkers in general. It's just my kind of people. He's last year it was what was he wearing? The Crocs with the weird pant, like the
Crocs and socks.
The sweatsuits, like the matching.
The tracksuits a couple years back during COVID.
I forgot about those.
Crazy tracksuits.
Oh my gosh, I know. I thought he'd bring them back this year. So
yeah. Don, I don't know if you heard last night when he was talking on Lombardi's Bar. He was talking about the Crocs and socks, and then Rogers was giving him crap about it. And so then that got on the McAfee show and all that fun stuff. Like Crocs sent him a whole gift package because they got like free advertisements. So
right.
He's like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but yeah, he said it last night. But he got multiple pairs of Crocs because it's okay to wear them with your socks. So
it's so awful.
Oh, it is awful. Just get the lined ones.
Oh. All of it. I'm watching the end of this game. They are really fighting to the end on this game on Thursday Night Football. Just so you know, I mean, the Steelers, if they lose, they are out for the playoffs. The Patriots don't have a chance anyway. So it's like if the Patriots win, it's really, really rubbing their face in it a little bit. But it's still 21-18. There's only a couple of minutes left. They're almost to the 2-minute warning, I think. Just so you know, if you're listening or watching. I've got
but it was 21-10 going into the half. So the Patriots haven't scored anything the second half.
And for some reason, I can't read these. Okay. Schneiderman didn't know who chose. So he lost his credibility. Oh, well, he's young. He's young. He's a youngster.
You should still know Monk. You should know Monk.
And his other great roles in TV and film. Yes.
Right. Yeah. He was, I don't know him from Monk. I know him from, what did I know
Wings?
him from? No.
You're from Wings? That's what I first know from. From Men in Black, from Big Night, from...
What do I know? I'll have to look this up. How do I know Tony?
Tony Shaw, who you know him from being a Packers season ticket holder. I learned that this week. No idea.
Same. I had no clue.
No clue.
He is?
Surprise.
Yeah, because he was born and raised in Green Bay. Yeah.
I should know that. My
awesome.
sister would know that. Lori would know that.
Probably. Shout out Lori.
Yes. We are free now to shout her out again.
Good. Until she doesn't stop it again.
Yes, she was.
Here, of course, is Joe coming to the rescue here. He mentions also Addams Family Values. He is on Marvelous Miss Maisel. Oh, yeah, he's so good on that show. He's so obnoxious. I love it.
I love Marvelous Miss Maisel. And that show is done now.
That's right.
Sad. I forgot he was the same dude. No, it was something else. I'll think of it. It's old. It's old like me. I want to say it was like Tax. What was that television show where it was the taxi hub?
Wings. Yeah.
What
was that? Taxi is Taxi a hub, but the show Wings was at an airport, and he drove a taxi on that show, which is why I think that might be what you're thinking of.
Maybe. I don't think so.
I was not going to believe me.
I didn't watch.
Yeah, that's totally what it was.
I didn't own a television. I don't still, but I've only owned a television for a couple of years of my entire life. So there are very few television shows that I know. But
so
I feel
yeah.
I don't think that was a year that I had. Yeah. Anywho.
Don, you say you only had 2 superlatives. Is that right?
Those are my two. Those are my
Okay,
two.
so I do have one more.
My third one.
So, I
My
mean-
third one is Carl. He's a superlative in and of itself.
Superlative
So now I
best,
have my
best
three.
guess.
I'm always reaching for that last one. Just like I need another. I was busy today. Okay.
Well, I'm actually really happy that I get to do the last superlative then,
Yay.
because I feel like this just it was late in the week and it just really kind of capped the whole week of like excellent, exuberant Packers content off. We've talked a lot about Robert Mays before. He does the Athletic Football Show. It's an outstanding, national podcast, one of my favorites.
Mhm.
And he's also a Bears fan, the poor guy, because that's a
Oh,
rough life,
that's
that's sad. And he's become very we talk about the Bears, it's funny because he knows they're not good and it hurts him, but he's become numb to it, like he'll
Yeah.
be like, oh, my team.
Yeah.
He's just so frustrated. So sorry. It's gonna kill me just trying to read this.
I know.
So this is a tweet Robert Mays had this week. I'm just gonna read it. Rewatching Jordan Love from last Sunday, and I've got some rough news for Bears fans. I think it's officially done. He's just good. It really happened again. And then as a subtweet with him that he said, he's also incredibly fun to watch. It's infuriating. And I loved that because,
Mhm.
there are a few people on the national stage whose opinions I put more stock in than Robert Mays. Very few. And so for him to at the same time, like bring some, of like his credibility to what we're seeing as Packers fans, because we're homers, of course, we're like, oh, the Packers are the best. So
Yeah.
to hear that helps. But then also, with the flavor of like defeated Bears fan, I mean, that's everything all in one tweet. It was so good. And I gotta say too, it's
Thank
worth
you,
checking out
Robert.
the tweet because the quote tweets and the comment section, there's some gold, there's some nuggets all over there. So highly recommended.
Did we talk about Robert Mays last week? Because I
Mm,
somehow remember talking about Brian May and Queen and Led Zeppelin.
there was something with that, wasn't there? I don't remember what it was though.
Was that us? I don't know. I talk a lot. But every time I see his name, I think of like an old rock band.
Yeah, Brian May. Yeah, because you said something about like you're like, didn't he play in Led Zeppelin? And I was like, no, what?
And then I was
You're
like,
talking about
Queen,
you meant Queen, and yeah, it was a whole thing.
Brian.
I think that was last
Yeah,
week.
it must have been us. All right. Well, I like it. So now's the chance for all of us to have any final thoughts before we roll it up. Carl, any final thoughts before we wrap up our show tonight? Certainly great that you joined us. That was cool. Nice to see you.
Like I say, I'm not totally up on the Packers, but I've seen the highlights from last Sunday, and I was really impressed with Jordan Love and the way he's able to find all those receivers. And so you guys don't have any named receivers. You got rid of Alan Lazard, an Iowa State guy. So you got a bunch of no names. I don't know these guys other than Christian Watson, who was a first round pick a couple of years ago, and he's really coming on good. So yeah, I think your chemistry is really looking good on offense. So it's going to be interesting to see how you guys turn out here in the last games of the year.
Woohoo! And didn't Lazard get benched at the Jets? He's not playing. Yeah.
They are very unhappy
So
with
that
him.
was
He's
that
not
was
producing.
kind of a good move. I mean, sorry, Lazard, but we loved him when he was with us, but he did get benched. So I guess that was a good move for Gutekunst again. Who seems
Another
to know what he's doing.
throw it on the
A lot
pile.
of
Yep.
people, just throw it on the pile of successes. Katie, any final thoughts before we take off? It's been great to see you. I'm glad you joined us.
Good to see you. Watching the Jets downfall gives me
No,
life.
I'm glad I'm not alone. I honestly, it's so good. It's so good. By the way, the
that's awesome.
Patriots just beat the.
Oh,
Oh no, there's still a minute.
Nope.
Sorry.
Yeah.
They were all celebrating, so I thought okay. Sorry. False
Crazy.
news, fake news. Okay.
no,
I'm glad I'm not alone on that one. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry.
I said earlier, the Packers can win out these next 5, but I don't see it happening. I see them dropping a game. I just hope it's not the Vikings because, we need that one specifically for playoffs. Although I question why. I mean, you want to be good and go to the
Mm-hmm.
playoffs, but at the same time, I really don't know how much we can do. So, just ride the season. And hearing from Carl and the culture was fascinating. It was so good. So thank you for that insight. That was great.
Maddie,
Yeah.
any final
Dawn.
thoughts?
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
do I
just
have
first of
final
all-
thoughts? Oh, yeah, because I have to have final thoughts. And then Matt has
Go ahead, Don.
Otherwise, it's awkward because of the way okay. She said, Dawn, and I have none.
I
have
did.
none.
I didn't even.
have no thoughts in my head. I mean, they're gone. It's too late. No, I'm just super happy. I'm kidding. I always have thoughts. They're just hard to put to words sometimes because they're colorful and they dance around in my head and that kind of thing. So, no, I'm just super happy with the success. There's a saying, how does it go? Hope for the worst. No, expect the worst. No, you don't want to hope for the worst.
Hope for the best. Expect the worst. Hope for the best. Is that what it is?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's how I feel. We didn't expect a lot. I didn't expect horribleness, but I expected and we got more than that. And so I'm super happy. That's it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, then before we sign off, I do want to say a huge thank you, Carl. Really great to meet you. I love your perspective and the thoughts you brought here today. Yeah, this was great. And Katie, my friend, so good to see you. Of course, really happy you were able to jump in last minute here to join us and help out. And this was a really fun episode, you guys. So I guess my final thoughts too would just be, remember, it's easy to really ride the high highs of the season and the low lows, but just be like Jordan Love, be even keel, because it's gonna help you just, I think, be a healthier, a mentally healthier person. But yeah, we just have a few games left. Really, it's enjoy it, folks. Enjoy it with family if you have family to enjoy, with friends, whatever, community, because that's what we're about, Dawn. Community.
We are
and
about
friends,
community.
Of course, you'll find links in our show description for everyone we mentioned, so please check it out. Also, we'd love to have a chance to interview you and shout you out if you're a subscriber and a football fan. If you'd like to nominate someone to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know. Our DMs are open on all the social platforms, and folks, when you subscribe, please subscribe. When you subscribe to our podcast, you help us to keep spreading the love in our community. And the best way to help this podcast grow is by sharing it with your friends and family.
Yes, Maddie, that's right, because we love you. We're so glad to know you, to be fans of you, and have the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL. That feels really good this week. We appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod. And we look forward to seeing you next week on
Hey, we like your pod.
Football in general comes down to discipline and people owning their roles. And when you aren't disciplined or you go outside the scheme,